Yeah, good morning. In this session, I would like to give you briefly a overall idea about the degrees of freedom. In fact, I will be addressing some of these issues, what is meant by degrees of freedom and what is its significance, especially in process simulation, and we will be addressing these issues. What is the number of degrees of freedom for a stream, a given unit, maybe a heat exchanger, pump, compressor, reactor and so on, and finally a flow sheet. Remember, unless and otherwise we do this, we may not be in a position to identify the minimum information that may be required to define the problem. So let us go ahead. You know the conventional definition of degrees of freedom. So you know this is your Gibbs phase rule. D is equal to C minus P plus 2, where D stands for degrees of freedom, C stands for number of components, P stands for number of phases. Probably you might have defined and derived this relation from a conventional approach known as, in general, degrees of freedom can be defined as M minus N, where M is the number of variables and N is the number of independent equations. Remember, in this definition, you have to consider all the variables involved in a problem, whether they are dependent or independent, whereas N is going to represent only the number of independent equations. Please make this very, very clear. In other words, if M is more than N, so it is not possible for us to get an unique solution. So the idea here in specifying the degrees of freedom is, if this difference is addressed and so many variables are defined, then you will be able to solve the remaining n equations in n unknowns in a unique way. So that is the idea. Now the significance of degrees of freedom is, a difficult problem in flow sheeting is to define the problem so that you will be in a position to obtain the solution. In fact, here there are two things: minimum number of variables that must be defined. Of course, this can be known from the degrees of freedom analysis, whereas just because you are satisfying the minimum number, it may not be possible sometimes to get to a solution. I would like to give you a simple example in this case. For example, consider a mixer wherein two input streams are getting mixed to give rise to one output streams. Let us consider the pressures as P1, P2, P3. Right? Typically, in the case of a mixer, you will be calculating the output pressure as minimum of input pressures, P1 or P2. Now consider this particular example. Now there are three variables, P1, P2, P3. So I can consider M is equal to 3. And there is only one equation representing all these three variables. N is equal to 1. So what is the degrees of freedom? 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. So do you think, given any two variables out of these three, will you be in a position to calculate the third variable? Let us consider some possibilities. Given P1 and P2, there should not be any difficulty in calculating P3. Suppose you consider the possibility of specifying P1 and P3. Will you be in a position to calculate P2? May not be possible. Similarly, if you specify P2 and P3, you may not be in a position to exactly determine P1. So for example, take the case of 1 and 2. So the P3 is going to be 1. Take the case of 1 and 1. P2 is 1, P3 is 1. Do you think you will be able to establish the pressure P1? It can be any value greater than or equal to 1. Similarly, if you specify P1 and P3, immediately we may not be in a position to exactly determine P2. So this could be a problem. So legitimately selecting the variables so that a solution can be obtained. Remember, the second part is not going to be addressed by degrees of freedom. It only tells you what is the minimum number of variables that you must be able to define in order to solve the problem. Just because you are satisfying the minimum number, it doesn't mean that a solution is guaranteed. So you need to have the background and identify what should be the variables that I need to define in order to get always a proper solution. So this is left to your judgment and engineering knowledge. So I may not be going into these details. Probably you might have done this derivation in your thermodynamics course. You might have derived your Gibbs phase rule. Typically, assuming that you have C components and in P phases. So these are all the equations that we will be able to write. Thermal equilibrium, pressure equilibrium, phase equilibrium. So here there are P equations, and here for every component you will be able to write CP equations, and then relating chemical potential. How are you going to calculate the chemical potential based on temperature, pressure and mole fractions, and mole fraction sum equations. So try to identify the sum of all these equations. For example, 2P and 1 CP here and another CP here and one more P. So adding up all these equations will give you the value of N. Now similarly, you try to identify the number of variables involved in these N equations. So the number of variables, if you try to count, taking care of each and every variable involved in this equation, they come to this particular level. 2C plus 2 multiplied by P plus C plus 2. Now, as per the definition, D is equal to M minus N. So that is going to give you this value. So this, in other words, we can derive the Gibbs phase rule from the conventional definition of degrees of freedom, which is defined as number of variables minus number of independent equations. So this is probably already done by you. Now let us try to identify the degrees of freedom for a stream. Now this is going to be based on Gibbs-Duham's equation or Duham's theorem, which says whatever may be the number of phases, whatever may be the number of components, whatever may be the number of chemical reactions that are taking part, you will be able to determine the equilibrium state of a closed system for which we know the total initial masses of each component. Please concentrate on this statement. So once we know what is the total initial mass with respect to each and every component that is present in the system, we will be able to determine the equilibrium state provided you are in a position to define two independent variables. So what do you mean by knowing each and every component initial mass? If there are C components, C definitions must be known. The flow rate of component 1 is this much. Flow rate of component 2 is this much. So C variables are taken here. In addition to that, if you are able to define two more variables, you will be able to define the equilibrium state of a closed system. So using this concept, we will be considering a stream as a closed system, and as per the Duham's theorem, we will be able to say the degrees of freedom for a stream is equal to C plus 2. I may not be going into the derivative part, but you can once again identify the number of equations, taking an example, number of chemical reactions and so on. And finally, you will be able to evaluate the number of equations, number of variables, and arrive at the degrees of freedom. So which is going to be 2. Remember, we are extending the Gibbs-Duhem theorem to a stream to determine the degrees of freedom for a stream. But remember, in the background, the number of variables, degrees of freedom is 2, provided you know the initial masses of each and every component. So when you try to talk about defining a stream, please remember the Gibbs-Duhem theorem. We are in a position to, we must be in a position to define the total initial masses of each and every component. In addition to this, you should be in a position to define two more variables. Remember, in different simulators might have different possibilities, but most of the simulators, these are the two possibilities that you have. So for example, if you have C components, define flow rate of each component, component 1 to component C, which are going to be taken into account the initial masses of each and every component. In addition to this, you can define temperature, pressure or vapor fraction. Out of these three variables, you need to select any two. So if you are able to define temperature, pressure and each and every component's mass or mole flow rate, then you will be in a position to define the system completely. Whatever property that you want, you should be in a position to calculate. That is what is meant by degrees of freedom. So this is one alternative. We are defining individual component mole, mass or volume flow rates. That will give you an estimate of the initial masses of each and every component. Once we are able to take care of this C, remember this C cannot be anything other than the total initial masses of each and every component. So whatever details that you are providing must be able to address the total initial masses. If you are not satisfying this C, the degrees of freedom for a stream is not complete. So the two possible options to do this are, this is one. The second possibility is, instead of defining individual masses or moles, you define the total flow rate of the entire stream involving all the components and define C minus 1 mole fractions. So there is 1 and C minus 1 mole fractions are C minus 1 variables. 1 plus C minus 1, you are addressing this C. So how are you going to get F1 given this information? F multiplied by the mole fraction of component 1. For example, if F is molar flow rate, then you will be able to know the molar flow rate of component 1. So in other words, both are one and the same. So this is the only option you have in any process simulator in order to address these C variables. In addition to this, you also have a limitation with respect to this too. Whatever independent intensive variables that you have in mind, you may not be in a position to define them in order to complete the definition of a stream, right? For example, can I define, in addition to these initial masses, will I be able to use enthalpy and entropy? Theoretically possible, but that option may not be available in your simulator. Even let us say you are given with that opportunity of defining enthalpy and entropy, do you think you will be in a position to identify the enthalpy of a given stream available at a particular temperature and pressure? Similarly, calculate the entropy at a given temperature and pressure. So calculating temperature given enthalpy may not be that easy. May not be that straightforward. But given temperature and pressure, calculating enthalpy may be an easier option. So usually these options are available in your process simulator. Remember one important fact, whenever you want to define a stream completely, you need to address at least C variables such that you will be able to identify the total initial masses of each and every component. In addition to that, you are at liberty to choose any two variables out of temperature, pressure and vapor fraction. So out of these three, most of the simulators will provide you to choose any possibility, any two out of these three. For example, if you want, you can use temperature and pressure, you can use temperature and vapor fraction or pressure and vapor fraction. That completes the definition of any given stream. Of course, that depends on the number of components involved in a particular stream. So this is one important result. Now, using this, let us also look at some units. Suppose you have a mixer. Of course, any number of input streams can be mixed to give rise to one output stream. Though we are taking two input streams and one output stream, the same logic can be extended even for other situations. So what could be the typical variables involved? Flow rate of stream 1, temperature, pressure, mole fraction of component 1 in stream 1, mole fraction of component 2 in stream 1 and so on. These are going to be the mole fractions. Similarly, for each of the streams, I have identified certain variables. Now let us try to do the same type of analysis in identifying the degrees of freedom. What is the number of variables and what is the minimum number of independent equations that you will be able to write among these variables. So just to spend a couple of minutes here. Now we know how to propose the mass balance equations. X, I1, I stands for the component, I stands for the stream. So if there are, I stands for the component because I am writing for stream 1, stream 2, stream 3. What is the mole fraction of component I in stream 1 multiplied by the mole flow rate plus this will give you the number of moles of component 1 entering into the system or mixer. Similarly, this will give you the number of moles of component I entering through stream 2. So the sum of these two should be appearing in the product, which is the mole fraction of component I in third stream multiplied by its flow rate. So you will be able to write C equations. Remember, if there are two components, how many independent mass balances you can write? You can write two component balances, and you can also write the total mole balance. F1 plus F2 should be equal to F3. Why did I not consider this equation? Right? Do you think, suppose if you have two components, how many independent equations I'll be able to write? For example, if I write component 1, stream 1 multiplied by F1 plus component stream 1 mole fraction of component 2 multiplied by F2 should be equal to mole fraction of component 1 in stream 3. That is the output stream multiplied by F3. Similarly, same thing can be written with respect to the second component. We are writing the first subscript is going to indicate the component, the second subscript is going to indicate the component, the first subscript is going to indicate the stream number. So similarly, I can write x12. Did I make a mistake here? Yeah. Let us say the first subscript is representing what? Component I in stream 1. Let me follow this notation. Right? So component is first subscript, stream 1. Component 1 in stream 2. Component 1 in stream 3. Now I am dealing with component 2 in stream 1 multiplied by F1 plus component 2 in stream 2 multiplied by F2. This should be equal to component 2 in stream 3 mole fraction multiplied by F3. Now what will happen if you add these two? You can see F1 multiplied by X11 plus X21, the sum of mole fractions in stream 1, which is equal to 1. So you will be having F1 plus F2 is equal to F3. So when you are dealing with streams, in a stream involving two components, because you will be able to derive this from these two equations, I will be able to write only two independent equations. Any one of them plus this or these two equations. Based on your convenience, you should be in a position to provide whatever information that you require. So we are able to write C independent mass balance equations, and similarly depending on the flow rate, if it is mass, you need to define enthalpy per unit mass, or if it is mole, enthalpy per unit mole. So this is the enthalpy entering through stream 1, enthalpy entering through stream 2 should be equal to enthalpy leaving in stream 3. This is one equation. Similarly, as I said, the output pressure is minimum of P1 or P2, another equation. So we will be able to write sum of mole fractions in each stream should be equal to 1. Because there are 3 streams, we will be able to write 3 equations. Now given how am I able to calculate these enthalpies? You know, in the case of a mixture, the enthalpy or any thermodynamic property is not only a function of temperature and pressure, but also its composition. So we will be able to determine the enthalpy using necessary equations. Because there are 3 enthalpies, I will be in a position to calculate or use 3 equations. So now try to identify the total number of variables and equations involved. What is the total number of equations? C plus 8. What about the total number of variables? So we have F1, F2, F3, H1, H2, H3 and P1, P2, P3, right? T1, T2, T3, and then how many mole fractions? You have C mole fractions in each stream. So there are 3 streams, 3 C mole fractions. So if you add up all these 3C, these are going to take care of the mole fractions. Remember, when you are trying to identify the number of variables, you have to consider all the variables irrespective of whether they are independent or whether they are dependent or independent, right? What about this 12? We saw 3 enthalpies, 3 flow rates, 6, 3 pressures, 9, 3 temperatures, another 3, 12. So that takes care of all the variables involved. As per the definition of degrees of freedom, The difference is 2C plus 4. So at least in the case of a mixer, you need to define minimum number of 2C plus 4 variables to complete the definition for a problem involving only mixer, right? From now onwards, we will not be doing this kind of an elaborate analysis, but I am going to suggest a shortcut. Now you have a mixer. We already know the number of degrees of freedom associated with each stream is equal to C plus 2, right? So what is the total number of variables involved? 3 into C plus 2, right? So that's what I am taking. And the number of equations that I will be able to write for any equipment is equal to the number of variables involved, the number of degrees of freedom involved with all its output streams. Let me repeat this. The number of independent equations you will be able to propose will be equal to the number of degrees of freedom associated with all its output streams. Remember here, there is only one output stream. The number of degrees of freedom for this is C plus 2. So I'll be able to write C plus 2 equations. So M is 3 into C plus 2, N is C plus 2. So we'll be able to get to the same result. What do you think is the basic difference between these two? For example, when you use this kind of a shortcut, we already know that the sum of mole fractions is equal to 1. So I am not considering this equation. Given temperature, pressure and composition, I know how to calculate enthalpies. We will not be using this equation. So how many variables are eliminated? Six equations are eliminated. But how many variables are eliminated? So the same 6 variables will be eliminated. 3 variables here because they are not independent. So accordingly, we will be coming to this kind of a shortcut. So from now onwards, we will be using this shortcut to calculate the degrees of freedom for any given unit. Let us look at this point from another viewpoint. We know most of the models that you are going to make use in any process simulator are going to do only rating calculations. So in case if you have a mixer, what is the minimum number of specifications you have to give? You need to define both the input streams. What do you mean by defining both the input streams? I have to specify C plus 2 variables, another C plus 2 variables. That is going to take care of 2C plus 4. But remember, specifying these two streams is not part of your degrees of freedom. If you want, you could have specified some variables here also. But specifying variables with respect to output streams is not permitted in a rating problem. So you will be forced to specify only the input streams because you are using only rating calculations. But degrees of freedom will never tell you that. You define these only, I'll be able to calculate the output stream values. See, as long as you are able to specify number of variables equal to this number which is suggested by degrees of freedom, the remaining unknowns you should be in a position to calculate. But unfortunately, we don't have that option because we are using simulators in which models are capable of doing only rating calculations. So you will be forced to specify this. So at least you can check as a cross check. You will be able to check, given this information, will it be able to solve the rating problem. Okay. Now let me take some more examples wherein you also come across with other details. So you consider a reactor. So one input stream, one output stream. So the number of variables are 2 into C plus 2. What do you mean by this? These are equipment parameters. We said in a rating problem, along with streams, we must also be able to define the equipment parameters. Remember, these equipment parameters might change depending on the actual type of reactor model you may be using. For example, let me take the stoichiometric reactor. In stoichiometric reactor, R is going to represent the number of chemical reactions, independent chemical reactions. So if the number of chemical reactions are, let us say, take 1, then at least we must be in a position to define 3 variables. What are those 3 variables? Temperature, pressure and the conversion. So these are the 3 variables. Remember, if you take other reactor models, probably things may be slightly more different. So if there is any possibility, because I am talking in general without addressing the type of reactor, this is the minimum number of equipment parameters that may be needed. For example, if you go into a kinetic reactor like CSTR and PFR, the number might even increase. You need to define the kinetics, the temperature dependency of the rate constant, and so on. So be careful. For all the reactor models, this may not be the degrees of freedom. So once again, using the same concept, because the number of degrees of freedom associated with all output streams is C plus 2, I'll be able to write C plus 2 equations. Whatever I am writing within the blocks is indicating the number of independent equations. So the total number of variables are 2 into C plus 2, plus these equipment parameters are also mandatory for us to specify. So they must also be included in calculating the total number minus the number of equations. So once again, this is the number of degrees of freedom for a reactor. This may not be enough for all type of reactor models. So probably there could be a change in the equipment parameter depending on the actual type of model you may be using. For example, in this case, what do you mean by this result? So, for a rating model, specifying the input streams, equipment parameters, how many you are specifying? C plus 2 plus R plus 2, which is equal to the degrees of freedom. You should be in a position to calculate the output streams. So always, at least the rating model will give you an idea about whether the so-called calculated degrees of freedom will be enough for defining the problem for rating. Right? Once again, the same result. Degrees of freedom will never tell you to define these C plus 2 variables and these R plus 2 variables. This is being forced on you because the model that you are using in any process simulator is capable of doing rating calculations. The rating problem requires you to specify the input stream and equipment parameters. This is only one of the ways in which the problem can be defined. See, out of, for example, if you take C is equal to 2 and R is equal to 1, what is M? 4 plus 4 plus 3, 11 variables. And you are able to write only 4 equations. So the degrees of freedom is 7. So out of the total number of 11 variables, you need to specify any 7 out of these 11. So the remaining 4 equations, because you had 4 equations, you will be able to make use to calculate the 4 unknowns. So what is the number of possibilities of selecting 7 out of 11 variables? You can see it is 11C7. But remember, this kind of options are not available in a process simulator. Only one of these possibilities, specifying these 4 variables, these 3 variables is only allowed as far as you are using a process simulator like Aspen, ChemCAD and so on. So that is the limitation with which you need to make use of a process simulator. You will not be able to provide this kind of generic definition while specifying the problem when you are using a process simulator. So your freedom is being curtailed of using curtailed because you are trying to make use of a rating model. Rating model requires only a particular type of input. No other possibility is allowed. So practically you don't have a freedom. Though degrees of freedom tells you that there is some kind of freedom in choosing the variables required to define the problem, the freedom is being curtailed because you are using sequential modular approach. Our models are capable of only doing rating calculations. Practically this freedom is lost. You don't have absolutely no freedom, but only to specify the stream variables and equipment parameters. No other type of possible definition is not allowed. So this is the limitation that you have to remember. Now similarly, if you look at the flash column, you know there will be a vapor product, a liquid product and one input stream. So assuming that there are C components, the total number of variables involved are 3 into C plus 2, and whatever I am writing with the slanted angle will represent minimum number of equipment parameters. You need to specify at least temperature and pressure at which the flash column is operating, or temperature and heat duty, pressure and heat duty, temperature and vapor fraction, pressure and vapor fraction. At least any 2 variables must be defined. So the total number of variables are 3 into C plus 2 plus 2. How many equations will be able to write? As I said, the total number of equations will be equal to the sum of degrees of freedom associated with all its output streams. There are two output streams and the sum of degrees of freedom is 2 into C plus 2. So once again, we will be able to calculate the degrees of freedom as C plus 2 plus 2. So specifying this input stream and equipment parameters, we should be in a position to calculate all these 2 into C plus 2 variables. Again, based on rating problem. So for a splitter, now you can see a splitter, unlike the case of a mixer, will be able to divide one input stream into any number of output streams. Let us consider S number of output streams. S could be 2, minimum 2 to any number. Now, if there are S streams, each of these streams have C plus 2. The degrees of freedom associated with each of these streams is C plus 2. Because there are S number of output streams, the number of degrees of freedom associated with all these output streams is given by S into C plus 2. Now, what is the total number of variables? S plus 1, because there is another C plus 2 here. S plus 1 into C plus 2. What do you mean by these equipment parameters? For example, if you are dealing with one input stream is getting divided into 2, in other words, I am taking S as 2. So, if there is 10 kg per hour coming into this splitter, how much should go into this stream? Let us say, I say this is 50%. This is what is meant by the split fraction. The moment I say 50% should be routed through this stream, what will be this stream? The remaining 50 has to go into this stream. So if the splitter is dividing the input stream into two outputs, at least one split fraction must be mentioned. Automatically, based on mass balance, the remaining mass has to be sent into stream 2. If there are S such streams, at least S minus 1 split fractions must be defined because sum of all these split fractions must be equal to 1. So it is mandatory in the case of a process simulator to define the input stream and S minus 1 split fractions, which is going to represent the degrees of freedom for a splitter. Similarly, if you take a heat exchanger, I don't need to go into the details. So if there are, what is the total number of variables? 4 into C plus 2 plus 1. This is the minimum number of equipment parameters. At least one of the output temperatures must be mentioned. Without mentioning either the temperature of the process fluid or utility fluid, outlet temperature of the process fluid or utility fluid, you will not be able to do energy balance. So this is the minimum number. Of course, if you want to address the pressure drop on the tube side, pressure drop on the shell side, depending on the level with which you would like to make these calculations, there can be a change with respect to these equipment parameters. What I am writing here is going to indicate the minimum number only. So you can once again see the degrees of freedom is equal to 2C plus 4 plus 1. In other words, I have to define both the input streams. I am taking care of this 2C plus 4. In addition to that, this equipment parameter must also be defined. So that will tell you the degrees of freedom. Similarly, let us take a pump, valve, maybe a compressor. So the degrees of freedom the equipment parameter associated with a pump is to what pressure you are trying to increase or what is the power supply. At least one minimum variable. If you want to go into the efficiency of the prime mover, efficiency of the thermal efficiency or kinetic efficiency, you probably will have to increase this number. As I said, this is going to represent the minimum number of equipment parameters. Depending on the depth to which you would like to make the calculations, there can be a change here. Accordingly, that number also should be included here. So once again, defining this input stream and this equipment parameter, we should be in a position to calculate the output. So a compressor, I am saying 2, right? What is the exit pressure? At least that must be mentioned along with maybe whether it is isentropic or any other thing, right? That should be mentioned. This is the minimum number. Probably when you try to solve problems involving compressor, you will be able to identify these equipment parameters. Once again, the result is similar. Specifying the number of degrees of freedom means input stream, equipment parameter. So that should take care of these definitions. So like this, now it should be easy for you to identify the degrees of freedom for any given unit based on this type of analysis. Now what I am trying to do here is, this is a typical flow sheet. You can add more details if you want, but you will be able to address the issue of what is the number of degrees of freedom for this flow sheet. Do I have to define these streams? Because this happen to be the input to reactor, this stream happen to be the input to the heater, this stream happen to be the input to the valve. So I have indicated the number of components involved in this stream. So fresh feed contains A and B. So A and B are giving rise to the formation of a product C. So some heater, valve, separator, probably the component is not able to completely separate out in this. So it is finding its way during the recycle. So you may have all the three components. So you, except for this stream, all the other streams are going to have three components, and along with that cooling water, probably you have only one component. Now what is the number of degrees of freedom associated with this stream? C plus 2. This is 4, this is 5, this is 5, this is 5. Whereas here these two streams are, because there is only one component, the degrees of freedom is 3. Valve, these are also 5. So all others will be 5 excepting this and this. In addition to these degrees of freedom, we must also be able to identify what is the minimum number of equipment parameters involved with all these models. So I am trying to redraw this diagram. These numbers are going to indicate the degrees of freedom associated with each of these streams, which is going to depend on the number of components, C plus 2. We already know what is the number C with respect to each of these streams. Now you can see, because this is cooling water, which is only one component, the degrees of freedom is 3. Now what do you mean by these slanted angles, slanted lines? They are going to represent the minimum number of equipment parameters involved with each of these equipment. So if you assume that there is only one reaction happening, so R plus 2 is the number of equipment parameters in the case of reactors, so that is indicated by 3. In the case of heat exchanger, we said it is 1. Valve 1, what is the exit pressure? Maybe if you take this separator as a flash column, 2 variable, 2 equipment parameters. Because the input is divided into 2 outputs, at least one split fraction is mandatory. So this is the equipment parameter. In the case of compressor, 2 equipment parameters. So if you try to count, you will be able to identify what is the total number of variables involved in this problem, including equipment parameters, and what is this number that I am writing in bracket that will represent the number of independent equations you will be able to write as far as this mixer is concerned, relating 5, 4, 5, 14 variables. You will only be able to write 5 independent equations. How did I get this? The number of independent equations you will be able to write for any unit is equal to the number of degrees of freedom associated with its output stream. So there is only one output stream, the degrees of freedom is 5, so I am writing 5. So same is the case here. Why this is 8? There are 2 outputs, the degrees of freedom associated here is 5, here it is 3, so I will be able to write 8 equations. Similarly, in this case there are 2 output streams, so I will be able to write 10 equations. Here also there are 2 output streams, I will be able to write 10 equations. Here there is only one output stream, I will be able to write 5 equations. So what is the total number of equations I will be able to write for this problem? 5 plus 5, 10, 18, 23, 33, 43, 48. So n is equal to 48. Now you know the number of degrees of freedom. So do you think I have to define all these variables? So please be clear. If I take something like a block across all, something like a loop across all these blocks, what is entering into this process? This is stream, this is the input stream, and this is the second input stream, nothing else. What do you call these streams? They are, in fact, you can see this is an output stream, this is another output stream. But all other streams connecting 2 units can be considered as intermediate streams. This happened to be an output stream from the mixer, but it also happens to be an input stream to the reactor. So do we have to define this stream? So should I calculate the degrees of freedom for each unit and probably add up all those will you be able to calculate the degrees of freedom for the entire process? So there will be duplication. You don't have to worry about this. The moment you calculate mixer, you will be able to calculate all these values. Similarly, the moment you are able to calculate reactor, you will be able to address these 5 variables. So adding the degrees of freedom for each and individual unit will not be able to give you the degrees of freedom. For example, what is the number of degrees of freedom for the mixer? 5 plus 4 plus 5 is the total number of variables, which are 14, minus 5. So the number of degrees of freedom is 9. In other words, both the input streams. Similarly, what is the degrees of freedom associated with this? 5 plus 3, 8. What is the number of degrees of freedom associated with this? It is equal to 5 plus 1 plus 3, 9. Degrees of freedom here, 6. Degrees of freedom here, 7. Degrees of freedom here is 5 plus 1, 6. Here also it is 5 plus 2, 7. So if you try to look at this, 9 plus 8 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 7 definitely will not be giving you the degrees of freedom for the entire flow sheet. Right? Because if you are able to solve this mixer, no longer you need to worry about this. What do you mean by degrees of freedom for this? Do I have to separate, do I have to define the stream? No. The stream is calculated once I am able to solve mixer. So the intermediate streams will not be, in this approach, the intermediate streams are going to be repeated while calculating the degrees of freedom from adding up the degrees of freedom for each unit. So instead of this, let us go by the same example. D is defined as m minus n. We already saw n is equal to 48. Now we can think of calculating m by identifying all the variables. So if you are careful, please add up. I am going in this direction. 4 plus 5, 9 plus 3, 12 plus 1, 13 including equipment parameters, plus 3, 16 plus 1, right? So add up all these variables. So let me go ahead. Tick mark so that we will not be missing. 4, 5, 9, 12, 5, 17, 18, plus 3, 21, plus 3, 24, plus 5, 29, 30, 35, 37, 42, 47, 48, 53, 58, 60, 65. So the total number of variables, did I leave anything? Is 65. The total number of equations, sum of all these values written in, within the blocks, which came to 48. So what is the total number of degrees of freedom? So this is what I have done. Don't worry, I have already calculated. This number should be 65, right? So 65, I made a small mistake, right? So 65, this is the total number of variables and the number of equations are 48. So as a result, we are going to get degrees of freedom as 17. What is the 17? So do you think out of the 65 variables that we have, we need to select at least 17 variables because there are only 48 equations. So supplying this difference will equate the number of equations with number of unknowns so that you will be able to get a unique solution. But what is the number of possibilities of selecting 17 variables out of the 65? Innumerous number of possibilities. But do you think you are allowed to take all such possibilities? No. This is because the model that you are using is going to use rating models. Now if I try to look at this entire problem, what is the option for you? You know that you have to define the input streams 4 and 3. 7 are already taken care, plus all the equipment parameters. What is the total number of equipment parameters? 3 plus 1, 4, plus 1, 5, plus 2, 7, plus 1, 8, plus 2, 10. So once again you can see defining these input streams and all the equipment parameters which total to 10, we should be in a position to solve this problem and calculate all the streams involved in this. whether they are output streams or intermediate streams, right? So this is what is meant by degrees of freedom for a stream, and you may not be in a position to add up the degrees of freedom for each and individual units to calculate the degrees of freedom for a flow sheet. So be careful. So we have addressed the degrees of freedom for a stream, any given unit, and finally a flow sheet. So you will be able to know what is the minimum number of variables required in order to complete the problem definition. Whether it is rating, analysis or design, the degrees of freedom cannot change. But in the case of a process simulator, you will be losing this freedom because you don't have any freedom to choose whatever variables that you want. The variables should correspond to only input streams and equipment parameters. Only one of the possible, innumerous possibilities of defining the problem is allowed while using a process simulator. So please keep this in mind. So another thing which I have already pointed out, it will tell you what is the number 17, 10, 8, so on. For this flow sheet, we came to the conclusion that it is 17. See, that number 17 might slightly vary depending on the actual model you may be using, right? This could be probably the minimum. If at all there is a variation, the variation would be with respect to the equipment parameters. So you should be, if you are trying to define the equipment parameters more than the minimum, that automatically get added to your degrees of freedom. So, but important thing is, though it tries to tell you this is the number of variables that we require in order to solve the problem, it will never tell you what should be those variables you must be able to define. Which variables should be defined is not part of your degrees of freedom approach. Now, in the case of a process simulator, that freedom is being curtailed and it will ask you to define the problem only in a particular way. All these variables that you are trying to define while specifying the problem must only be with respect to input streams and equipment parameters. So please remember that. So with this, probably we can come to the conclusion. Before I conclude the session, let me take 2 examples and try to find out what is the number of degrees of freedom. See, it doesn't mean that every stream will have exactly the same number of components. This C1 could be 1, C2 could be 2, C3 will be 3, right? Or C2 will be 2 if there is if the same component is repeated. So what do you think is the number of degrees of freedom for this? How many variables you must be able to define? Now you know, if this is the component, the degrees of freedom for this stream is C1 plus 2, here it is C2 plus 2, here it is C3 plus 2. So what is the total number of variables involved? M is C1 plus C2 plus C3 plus 6, right? C1 plus C2 plus C3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. This is M. How many variables you will be able to write? How many equations you will be able to write? Equal to the number of degrees of freedom associated with the output stream, which is minus of C3 plus 2. So what is the degrees of freedom? So this gets cancelled and this 6 becomes 4. So C1 plus C2 plus 4. In other words, I can put this as C1 plus 2 plus C2 plus 2. You know, there are no equipment parameters in the case of a mixer. So we have no other option to define at least C1 plus 2 variables with respect to this stream and C2 plus 2 variables with respect to this stream. What should be the C1 and C2? C1 and C2, depending on the number of components, must be able to address the total initial masses of each and every component. No other way of supplying this information is allowed. This is because the degrees of freedom for a stream is derived from Gibbs-Duhem's theorem, which says, knowing the initial masses of each and every component, I need to define 2 variables in order to define the system. So that is as far as this example is concerned. Once again, consider these numbers are going to indicate the number of components. Of course, the slanted line represents the equipment parameter. So what is the total number of variables involved in this problem? Again, the degrees of freedom, if you want to calculate, this will be, if there are two components, the degrees of freedom for this stream will be 2 plus 2. Here it is 1 plus 2. Here it is again 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2. So the total number of variables involved here are 4 plus 3, 7 plus 4, 11 plus 3, 14. Of course, you need to also add the equipment parameter. So M is equal to 15. And what is N? This should be equal to the degrees of freedom associated with all the output streams. So there are two output streams, this and this. So here it is 3, here it is 4. So N should be equal to 3 plus 4. So D is equal to 15 minus 7, which is 8. What is this 8? Typically, out of this 15, you have the freedom of choosing any 8 variables if you are not using sequential modular approach. Because the moment you specify 8 variables, there will be only 7 unknowns and you already have 7 equations. So you should be able to solve these 7 equations to calculate the 7 unknowns. Theoretically, that is possible. In fact, this kind of an approach is known as equation-oriented approach, but this is not possible in sequential modular approach. Now, what should be these 8 variables? You know that both the input streams, here there are 4 variables, here there are 3 variables, 4 plus 3 must be defined along with this equipment parameter. So, given these 8 variables, you will be in a position to calculate these 7 unknowns. That is the view of process simulator, because the model that you are using in a process simulator is capable of doing only rating calculations. So with this, I would like to end the session.